So to continue on with GIS software, I thought I would just demonstrate ArcGIS using the same data set that I showed with Leaflet and R. So I'm just going to open up ArcMap. And I have the data files here. This is the April grouped data set, which just shows the percentage change in ridership from April 2019 to April 2020 per census tract. And then we have shapefiles here for the CTA stations and shapefiles for the census tracts in Chicago. So I have a new ArcMap here, and I believe I already have a connection to the folder, so I can just add these files here. And you can see ArcMap automatically populates the shapefiles in ArcGIS. So we have the census tracts and the CTA stations. But what I'm going to want to do is join this April grouped CSV to the census tracts file. You can see I have a absolute percentage change. So now I will be able to have the larger values, the larger percentage change values be darker. So I'm going to be joining. On this name attribute. But if I click on it, look at properties, you can see it's a string. And this April grouped the tract, which is the field we're going to be joining on, it's a double. So all we have to do is create a new field that's going to be a double. I'm just going to call it tract name. I can right click on that field, do a field calculator, taking the tract name, and since this field is double, it's just going to convert this string into a double. Take a second to calculate. And now we have the census tract names as doubles for this attribute. And now we can join. And we're going to join this field I created to tract name. I'm going to join it to the CSV file that I created in R. And we're going to join it on tract. And we only want to keep matching records. So instead of keeping all census tracts, I'm only going to have census tracts that were in the April group. So it's only going to have census tracts that are close to CTA stations. Okay. Now you can see I do still have CTA stations here marked that are outside Chicago. We can handle those later, but now for the census tracts, we have the census tracts that we want. And we're really just going to be making a choropleth out of these, out of this join table. So if I right click, go to properties, and we're going to go to quantities, and we're going to have just a graduated color map based on the absolute percentage change. So I'm just seeing if there's any other color schemes that I like, but I think this one works okay. And we're going to have 10 classes, just so we can have more granular distinction. And we can choose a type of classification. I'm going to actually do a defined interval. Of 10. If it lets me. I suppose we could do equal. That's sort of what I want. I'll just do equal. So starting from 59, the lowest value, I have 3, 4, we'll have 10 different groups, and census tracts will fall into one of these boundaries. We could try different methods later. Quantiles might be useful, but they should all be. You could see that there is a larger volume in the there are more census tracts that fall in these higher percentage ones, but I think that's fine. So I'm just going to click OK. And you can see that this is similar to what we had in R, that the census tracts in the downtown north side area are darker. But you can see it looks a little distorted because we don't have a map projection applied yet. So we're actually going to want to apply map projection to both shapefiles. And a suitable projection is going to be UTM North America. And Illinois actually falls in Zone 16 North. So we're going to do NAD 1983-2011 UTM Zone 16. And now it doesn't look as distorted, but we don't have a base map yet. So we're just going to add a base map. And I kind of like this one. Just takes a second to load. Base maps typically take a few seconds. You can see down here it's working. You can see Chicago here. I'll just take a second for the actual map to populate. And there it is. So this is our April map. Now we can first I'm going to do a view. I want to do a different view of this. I could zoom in a little bit. Maybe zoom out just a tad. drag this a bit. Go to full screen. And we could just try and make this as professional looking as possible. A little more zoom. And we can insert, I just want to get the zoom right here. And actually, I think the dots are a little too big, so I'm gonna make the CTA, these dots represent these CTA stations. So I'm just gonna make those a little bit smaller. And I'm going to insert a legend. In the legend, I don't want to include the base map. Features. I just want to have the CTA stations and then the census tracks. I can just keep the default for the tracks. I can maybe put the legend right here. It looks a little messy now, so we can go over here to properties. I know there's a way. I believe if I right click on, label features. Nope, that's not what I want. That's showing the, I don't want to show all the tracks, the track names, because that's too much information. Trying to recall how to. Ideally, I don't want to have the decimals like this. Here we go, format labels. So it's right now going to 6 decimal places. I think 1 decimal place is probably better. And now that I'm seeing this, I think 10 classes is probably a little too much. So let's actually put to 5. 5. We can see how this looks. Tells a similar story. Legend's much cleaner. So I'll leave it at 5. Suppose for now I could put the legend down here. I could rename this, and I'll just call it census tracks 2010, because these are 2010 census tracks. Percentage change. And I just realized that we are using the absolute values here, but I want to show that these are negative values. So I should be able to go into properties here, and I think if I do format labels, direction, or what if I do this, percentage change and then reverse sorting. I like that. Okay. So instead of using the absolute percentage change, I'm just using the regular percentage change. Make this 1. Let's see how this looks. Percentage. I'm going to rename this. Percentage change. And then we could also add scale bar to show just the distance. Not necessary, but it might be helpful. And we can add different text. I guess we could add a title. This is just CTA train ridership percentage change April 2019 versus April 2020, something like that. Doesn't fit, so we can let's rename it. CTA train ridership percentage change. And I could do that. So it just breaks April 2019 versus April. It should work. Yep. And this text is if we want to have list a data source. You could do something like that. Data source, U.S. Census Bureau. And that's about it. So that's just a brief overview of ArcGIS, doing the same analysis that I did in Leaflet.